Hey, what's up, guys? How you guys doing today? Chilling. All here, anyway. Hopefully you guys are too. Hopefully you guys are having a great Sunday morning. You know what time it is? It's time for some drink. What's up, Alexitas? How you doing, man? Today, this is what we're gonna... Ooh, new sub from Milk Manu. Thanks for the resub, man, for 2 months. I appreciate that. Still have not been able to figure out why my alerts will not work on this page. Super irritating. They work everywhere else now, just not here. Today, it's that kind of a morning. Need caffeine. So, try not to deafen you guys with my
Priority 1 message from Starfleet coming in on
Pleasant Chaos. What's up, man? How you doing in Germany? Good to see you, man. Thanks for the 4 months and your 4-month streak. Lemonade's a good flavor, man. I like this one. Good to hear, man. Good to hear. So, trying to think like how exactly I want to start. Hey, what's up, Penguin Droppings? I want to pop into this build fairly quick, but there's a little bit of mail call news. Mail call, not news. Nothing crazy. I think on the last stream I showed you guys that I had gotten some big switches. I don't know if I did or not, actually. I can't remember because I missed my last one. Cold brew morning there. So I haven't made cold brew since winter, since it's been winter and spring. But I want to get back into it. I actually just ordered, I have a Filtron. I don't know how you make your cold brew, but I have a Filtron and I can't find my filter pads. So I just ordered some more. So it's good that you're on the cold brew train because I'm about to be getting back on that cold brew train all day or a day also. It definitely makes my my summer a great deal. You get cans from your barista job here. Oh, okay, that's cool. Yeah, I get I'll drink the Kirkland brand one, the one that has like a leopard on the front of it, which is pretty cool. It's crazy. I didn't know until I started getting into coffee that like a barista gig is, I mean, some people take that to like the next level. There's like competitions and stuff. It's wild. But I mean, it makes sense, right? There's a big art to making a lot of the really awesome drinks that we get. I'm not talking about like, you know, some kind of burned swill that you get at Joe's coffee shop down the street sometimes. Although sometimes really good stuff locally. Yeah, just like keyboards. Just like keyboards. I bet people didn't know that mechanical keyboards were a thing, some of them. Let alone high-end custom mechanical keyboards. You did competition. That's crazy, man. That's intense. So I don't know. I like Trade Coffee Company has kind of changed my life. No sponsorships on my channel, but like, so not a shilling for them, but Trade Coffee Company has kind of made my life a better place. For better and worse, I guess. For that they exist in the industry. I think it's mostly for better. Perk of the percolation gig. Wah, wah, wah. TSC. Thanks. That's funny. Count on you to be punny. So yeah, I don't know if I showed those, so I'll grab them. Wasn't prepared for this one, but I thought that I'd show them. So, got two big switches and a PCB from, I don't know if it was Keyhive. I think it might have been Keyhive. I'm not gonna go searching for it. A latte fart comp, womp womp. Pulled the trigger on the 7V, got with extra PCB and extra plate. That's exactly what I would recommend, man. when you jump in on a buy, get an extra PCB for sure, and an extra plate if you can figure it out and you want it. So I got a couple of these. So we're gonna do a little tiny build sometime soon with some big switches, because I kind of want like a big switch macro pad. They're all the rage, like 4 months ago. So there's that. But that's not actually like the coolest thing I think I've gotten. I know this probably doesn't even make sense to you guys. These are some like helping hands arms. Oh, my little jury rigged don't scratch me microscope. Oh, I had this tape. I made like a little grid. Okay, well, I need to rethink that, but whatever. It doesn't matter. It'll work for now. So it was so that I could set it over the top of the microscope and use it. So I got this thing. It's got these like little tentacle-y deals with clips on them with a rubberized thing over them for little PCBs and such. And then it has other shorter arms and little standoff stands that are magnet, so you can like set a PCB down. Anyway, so that's kind of cool. Yeah, helping hands, but like there's some stuff that I want to do on the channel. Like I want to do some like intensive SMD stuff, like a little bit deeper dive into that sometimes. Not right now, but those are things that I want to affect, and that's going to help. And then also, finally, I did not get a great one. I just kind of got a mediocre one. I'd show the base station, but I'd have to like move everything. Little hot air reflow station. You know, I mean, we're not gonna show off hot air or whatever because it's real straightforward how it works. But I'm happy that I got it because, well, some things just become way easier with it. Way easier. IMO. The coolest thing that we got that's new on the stream is something you guys might not even notice. You definitely haven't yet because I haven't shown you a view. But I did get a zoom lens for my overhead camera. I got a 28-75, whatever, weird focal length. Roughly 24-70. F2.8 prime, or F2.8 zoom lens, not prime, sorry. So there is air and it's hot. Yes, you understand exactly correctly. Blows hot air to, you know, shrink heat shrink, or more importantly, flow solder with air to make some things just easier. I didn't get a really beast mode one, but like I really want a JBC unit, but I also don't want to spend like $1,200 on a thing that was like $70. Yes, the JBC one is better. Far and away. This will probably work for what we want to do. Anyway, so without further ado, we're actually going to jump into a build. Baby steps, yeah. So I don't want to pull this whole box over there because I don't want to dox myself and or customer. Especially not customer. So we got some stabs. We got some Gat inks. Tasty Gat inks. I don't know why the PCB out. I think it's because he bought an extra or something. So we'll check that out. Okay. And then most importantly, we got this monster. I'm gonna switch out the tofu, even though it hurts your heart. I'm gonna take the PCB and plate, put it into a clipe. Dude, that's not a bad deal. Put it into a clipe, man. It's a great way to go, I think. If you get better boards, man. Look, the tofu is a great place to start, I believe. But I understand why people don't want to, like, once they get deeper into the hobby, don't want to continue on with that. But the price, the value of it is so high compared to any board that's maybe better quality than it, that it just I don't know. It's a great starting point. Also, you can get in for basically everything under $500 US, right? So I don't know. I think that's the right move for a lot of people. As far as having 2 PC boards, sure. Sure. First board was a tofu upgraded hard. Yeah, see, I mean, that's just what you got to do sometimes. You know, some people don't see the value in going and buying a Kepler for basically $1,000 and then buying the switches. You know what I mean? And keycaps. Some people don't get that value, and that's fine. Like, it isn't worth that much to them when they get in, and then they get deep into the hobby and they're like, oh, that would totally been the right move. Well, luckily there's plenty of chances to make up for having made mistakes. I'm just giving you shit, man. Having made choices previously that made sense at the time, where, you know, there's other new choices. And the thing about tofu, I think, is you're gonna be able to find that you can sell that thing at very little loss, if any. Whereas the higher end customs, you're never going to be taking a loss when you sell them. I don't believe it's right personally to like flip for a profit, really, as effectively we're consumers. But that's not how everybody feels. Yeah. Oh, that's great. Yeah. So anyway, we're going to go back to our overhead view. Hopefully this looks better. I don't know. I think it probably I'm a little, looks like I'm a little blown out, actually. Like maybe my ISO is just a little bit high. I'm not plugged into that one right now. I can kind of artificially, actually the ISO's at 100. I think it's just because now we're operating at such a greater aperture. So much wider. Okay. I actually know how to fix this without, you know, without it being too crazy. So the way we can do that, there's a color correction. That might be actually like a little dark. Nah, that's what we're doing. Color correction. Yeah, the whites are just a little high. So I do have a LUT applied to this camera to make this look pretty correct. I downloaded somebody else's LUT. I don't have the proper color correction panels because the really good ones are really expensive. Why? I don't know. I mean, I have some cheapy ones, but they're not good enough. So yeah, screws, stickers. We're not gonna use these stickers at all. No shit's given about those at all. We aren't gonna use these gloves at all. Those are a giant pain. Yar. And then we're gonna pull this beautiful polycarbonate goodness out of this bag. Get a great look at it. Hold on a sec. Somebody blowing up my Discord. Oh, not blowing it up. One message. It'd be mean to say blowing it up. Yeah, I always like these. So the polycarbonate version of this board just looks fantastic, and every time I see one, it makes me smile. It really does. So this tissue is kind of a pain in the ass, though. I'm not gonna lie. Especially because this, I'm guessing this guy bought it from someone else? I don't know. I don't know. Either way, somebody applied like scotch tape over it. No, KB, I'm doing great. How are you doing? Polycarbonate's pretty fragile, so we're being really careful not to touch the actual polycarb with the knife. Because even like the slightest little metal touch could realistically scratch. Perfect. Yeah, man, everybody's doing good on my channel usually. This board looks really nice. It looks really clean too. There are a couple... No, that's not a scratch. Not really scratches, actually. There's always some machining marks on polycarb. On the inside of the board, nobody really cares. On the outside, maybe they do. There's the tiniest little scuff right here on the front. It's not a scuff. It's like just a slight textural discontinuity with the rest of the board. There's a couple little tiny ones on the front lip, but barely noticeable. This is a very clean example. One or two up here on the top, but basically unnoticeable. This is a very clean and pristine example of the board on the front. The back, there's one or two nicks. Again, though, it's very clean. Just polycarb always will have a little bit. Yeah, there's like one here. Like that, you can see that one visibly with my camera. You can see like that one. I think if I get the light right, you can probably see that one. I don't know if you can catch anything on the front. My fingerprint. Yeah, I don't think you can really see anything on the front with that camera at this distance, but super clean, honestly. Like I said, it's pretty much impossible to have 100% perfection, I think, on polycarb, but you can get it pretty good, and this looks beautiful. Yeah, so how's everybody enjoying their, hopefully, social distancing routine? Hopefully no one's going crazy or having too hard of a time. I have had to go into my actual work a couple times, but I've been lucky in that basically no one was in my sphere of, no one was in my bubble. And I haven't had to go a lot. Ooh, somebody wrote a thank you. I don't know if this was directed at me or not, but customer, if you're in here, thank you. Seriously, thank you. Appreciate that. Okay, so put that off to the side. We're not going to need that. We're not really going to need this for quite some time. So we're going to put it off to the side too, because, well, there's no need to risk scratching it or messing with it, right? So now we've got the rest of our little package here. Not too bad. No, KB, I hope by not too bad you mean it's actually pretty good. Or decent, at least. Foremost Bear, what's up? How you doing? Hope you're enjoying your boards, man. And I hope that, you're doing well. You and the fam. Beautiful, beautiful switches. I need to buy some Gat inks. I'm not a big linear guy, which you guys know if you've watched any of my content before, but I need to buy some. I actually like Gat inks. I did buy a bunch of alpaca linears, which actually reminds me. So one of my customers who's European, who can remain nameless if he wants to, or can name himself in here, it doesn't matter to me. Just don't like outing people. Had me buy some alpaca linears for me, or for him, for a build that I'm going to be doing. At the same time, I bought some for me, and I realized from talking to this customer who's in Europe that that he couldn't buy them because Prime Keyboards wasn't shipping them to Europe. So I bought extras, like 90 of them, I think. I have to go look. I bought some extras, enough for sure to do most regular builds. And I don't know how I'm gonna do it yet. I don't know if I'm just gonna give them to somebody, the first person who contacts me or something like that. I'm not willing to commit to anything yet, but I am gonna make sure that those switches end up in somebody in Europe's hands if they want them somehow. And I'm not gonna upcharge for them or anything stupid like that, because I was like, you know what, I'll get some extras. It sucks that they can't get them. Yeah, alpacas, alpaca linears. Did I say something wrong? I meant alpacas if I didn't. Yeah, today is with inks for sure, the build. Oh, you were muted. Yeah, I was talking about alpacas and how I bought some extras, and that I'll make sure that they end up in someone European's hands, as the European people were effectively excluded from. Yeah, I know you know, but anyway, so like I said, I haven't really figured that out yet. I had a couple ideas, but no, not sad EU gang. The US gang got your back. Man, some people tape things up so well. The tip of this knife is obviously not sharp enough to handle this. Okay, I got this. We're not plebs here. We have the tools. In this case, it's my finger. So that I can open up a gap wide enough for the knife to cut. Okay. TSC. Lol. USA, whoa. I don't know about all that. We all just got each other's back, that's what I'm saying. I have to say, with the recent crisis, my desire to chant USA in the streets is not maybe at its highest. Not that it's ever really high to go chant USA in the streets, but our handling of our recent crisis maybe doesn't exactly make me want to go do that either. I don't know. We always get crap for all the things. Partially because sometimes we deserve it, but partially because, you know, we're good targets, good punching bags for such things. Either way, we didn't handle this crisis that well, I think, at a high level. It's okay though. That's life. You know, take what you get. Oh yeah. Just missing some specific friends. The working from home bit is great. Yeah, but I'm sorry. I miss friends too. There are a couple friends that I've been lucky enough to be able to go see who are similarly isolated for prolonged periods where they're just, you know, in my circle of exposure. They live close. It's not like I gotta travel to go see them. Kind of sad, because those are basically the only people that I get to go see. Not that I, you know, mind them or anything. I like them, but I wish that I could see all my friends, but I can't. How long have I been building keyboards? Like on stream? A little over a year? A year and a month, or a year and 2 months, or I guess it's April now. A year and 3 months on stream? PC. So I am not a big fan of, by the way, in case anyone doesn't know, plastic plates. Wow, there's like sticky stuff on this plate. Here, you can kind of see. And it's not from the tape, because there was no tape touching this. It was inside of a package, an ESD bag. weird. I don't want to put alcohol on there. Alcohol does in fact erode polycarbonate eventually. Get the Gugon. I do have some Gugon. It is a thing. It's not that much. I'll just wipe it off. Plus, it's going to be on the underside of the plate. You won't even notice. Yeah, our handling of this crisis makes me want to move to Canada or literally any. I don't know if it makes me want to move, but it definitely like underscores, I think, somewhere that we've fallen fairly short and we need to fix it. I hope this PCB is good. A lot of the PCBs that I've used, the exclusive PCBs, have had issues with these LEDs. No, these ones seem to work. I wonder if they work in the R's, the G's, and the B's. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not quite there. I'm not willing to move over, at least at this point, over this or anything like that. I mean, I like where I live. I like my friends. I like my job. Not planning on leaving all that, but oof, that was kind of loud. Sorry, but I understand the sentiment. Hopefully, you know what? Hopefully, hopefully we fixed it now. Hopefully we get a lot better at it. It's possible we have. We'll see. Only time will tell. But time will definitely build us an awesome keyboard today. Not time. It'll be me. But we're gonna build an awesome keyboard today. Camping is so net. Yeah, I love camping, man. Technically, you're looking at two. Technically, you're looking at 2 camping sets. Just saying. But I'll try and leave this up here for a while. Ooh, thank you so much, TSC, for hitting up the socials. Anybody who's not already following, there's a button up here somewhere for follow and sub and stuff like that. You should consider doing that, and then popping over to my other social medias somewhere in this column. It's actually probably a little further over. And think about visiting my Instagram or my YouTube and doing the same over there. I need to get better about putting stuff up on Instagram consistently. I kind of started and then lost track, but now I have a little bit more time at my house that I could probably figure that out. Anyway, so polycarb board or plate is meh. I don't really like polycarb, but to each their own. It does have a unique characteristic sound and feel. Well, the feel is basically non-existent in my opinion. You want to try FR4? I love FR4. I do. It's loud though. It makes a lot of sound. It's just a way more resonant sound. For S75? Wow, 5 of them. That's wild. I might kind of want to buy one because if R2's plate is the same, I'm gonna try and get it on R2. Hello, friend. Hello, friend. How you doing? Hopefully pretty well. Okay, so anyway, that's enough delaying for me. I'm gonna pull out our fancy soldering mat. Just, to get a little extra protection going here. It's like a desk mat condom, but a really thick one. Even though this desk mat is kind of a sacrificial desk mat anyway. So obviously we got to lube up some stabs. These switches came pre-lubed to me, but they're 205 grade 0 on the rails and legs, and some kind of oil on the spring. I don't know which one. It was called out. I could find it if you guys really care that much, but they feel pretty good. I like Gat inks that are lubed. I think they do really well. I really do. For linears, I think they're some of the best. I think they are, and I think alpaca linears with films are muy bueno. Muy bueno. You're gonna lube your springs with 106. Yeah, that'll do. Yeah. No, I prefer grease because grease doesn't migrate inside of a switch housing. So I honestly prefer 205 grade 0 on springs, regardless of what you're gonna lube the rest of the switch with. But that is very often recommended, and it is not a bad choice. But personal preference. I kind of try to lube for a really amazing feel, but also getting like a long lasting effect out of it. I'm not saying that oil is bad. I'm just saying that it will move inside the switch housing. I don't know. It feels really good. This was done with an oil on the spring, and it feels great. So it feels fantastic, in fact. It's a little less buttery than I probably would lube my switches, but no, I put the whole spring in a tub and shake the shit out of it with a bunch of 205 grade 0 in there, and the whole spring gets coated. That's how I do it. I think I've done some videos on it, although I don't know if I've done a good job of capturing maybe that part. I think I have. I don't know. I'd have to look back. There are very few videos where I actually lube switches, so you could probably watch the beginnings of videos and find ones where I do. Yeah, I find it the best, most effective way for me. But lubing is really an art. People want to treat everything like it's a science, and I think we should be as scientific as we possibly can be about basically everything. But there's more than one way to get the effect you want out of lubing with different methods of applying lube. Gemma NWL, thank you so much for that follow. I really do appreciate that. Really, really. Baskervilles, how you doing? How you doing? So part of the reason that I choose to lube the way that I do is for the effect, but another part of it is for the amount of effort required to get the desired effect. Like sometimes I'm like tub lubing springs, I could absolutely use less springs by only lubing the parts of the springs that are really important to lube, but it takes a lot more time, and I'd rather burn some extra lube and get the same effect and use less of my time and or energy to getting it that way, right? It's just as right. It just you know, it's faster. That's my thoughts on it. Good, that's your build. Oh, nice, man. Nice. I didn't know your Twitch name, but now I do. Thank you. Your board looks great, by the way. Yeah, you should go back and look at the beginning of the VOD. I was commenting on how clean the case is. There's a couple tiny marks on the underside that are visible even under the camera lens. There's a couple on the top case that are barely noticeable by eye. It's a very clean example of a polycarbonate board. I mean, there's never a perfect machined finish on a polycarb board. You're always going to see something, but those look really, really good. By the way, did I play with the Oreos and Everglides at all? Oreos. I didn't play with the Oreos at all, or the Everglides yet, but I will. So we're probably not going to use this at all, because we're going to try the clip-ins. We're going to try these clip-in stabs on the plate for the backspace and the spacebar. The clip-in stabs, I could show you under a microscope, but I think what I'll do is I'll show off my new fancy lens and zoom in. Hopefully, oh no. Yeah, the gantry wasn't really designed with me touching all this stuff in mind. But I'll zoom in, and hopefully it'll stop shaking really, really soon. Sorry. So if I look right here, right at the footprint here, you can see where the clip-in back kind of ends abruptly and has very little above. but where the back on these Zeal stabs has this big ring that sticks up here. Well, this ring will interfere to some extent where this lack of it won't. I should probably have increased the aperture to not f2.8 so it could like focus a little easier. Anyway, so that little bump there, oof, oof. That little bump there on the outside edges will interfere with this gasket a little bit by squishing the gasket. Now, when you put it in the case, it'll squish up against the case, and it's not that big of a deal. Every other instance of this board that I've built, because I built, like, maybe this is the 5th one now? 4th or 5th. At least 4th for sure. 5th probably. Not exactly Microvision. Well, I mean, we can go to Microvision. You know what? We'll go to Microvision. How about that? How about that? Okay. I know you guys like it. I know you guys like Microvision. Ah. Let me get tell you what. I have more than one set of these. I'll show you guys what I mean. Okay. All right. Microscope. Microscopic vision. Okay. So if you look at the backs there, so you see that ring above the screw, how it sticks up quite a lot. Whereas on this, where that back clip is, that sticks up way less distance. It's much less volume. And so the gasket easily fits into the area above that, whereas on this one, it just doesn't. And it gets squished. I know you guys love Microvision. It's okay, I love Microvision too. We're not gonna get rid of it anytime soon. So anyway, my whole point with this is we're going to try and build it this way. Customer wants that, and I'm interested. It seems good. Now, the problem with clip-in stabs in general is that they're way more likely to fall out, come unclipped, cause issues. So generally in our hobby, we don't do anything with them. Right? We never touch them. So we only touch them when we absolutely have to. So I'm not reluctant to do this. I'm excited to do it. It sounds like an interesting kind of deal, but I realize that there could be a rattly characteristic or a less reliable characteristic to these. But you know, I mean, it's the customer's choice. So we're gonna have enter and left shift. So we'll need 2 sets of those 2 sets, those 2 wires. We should be done. If they are less than optimal, what we'll do is we'll come back and we'll lube more of these, and we'll just do Zeal stabs, because you know it's gonna get built right no matter what. Need some water. Oh no, need some Rockstar. I love that everybody loves the microscope vision. I'm really happy that I got this thing. Like, truly happy that I got it, because everybody seems to love it. So we won't need this for quite some time, till basically the end. We will need to lube these up, then we'll get to our soldery job. Speaking of Microvision, since you guys all love Microvision, we'll pull Microvision out. I believe it's the right move. because who doesn't love lubricating stabs under a microscope? Isn't that how people do this thing? Get on my level. Boop. It's kind of the best. Nice. All right, and now we'll also do this. How about that? Sorry, it's just gonna be an earthquake sometimes when I adjust that, I think. But it won't be an earthquake when I like hit the table. Which was the original point of hanging everything overhead. Okay. Get ourselves a little tiny teensy weensy brush. Now we're all the zoomies. The zoomies. No, nobody plays League. For science, Baskervilles, yes. Yes, indeed. Okay. So pretty straightforward, right? Ba-boom. Oh. Oh, look at that. Micro vision. Microvision. Take our little lube, the lube stick. We'll take the lube stick. We'll dip it in the lube. It takes its lube stick, it dips it in the lube, and then it applies a thin coating to the entire inside surface of the stabilizer guide. I need Attenborough here. Right, boom. Okay, and that's fairly low on the lube. What do you use for lube stick? What should I try and use for my first attempt? For lube or for the applicator? So this is a little tiny makeup brush. So that's a pretty light lube job on those stabs. But, you know, the springs aren't super heavy in what we're doing, so that's probably pretty good. I think we're going to avoid basically all rattle. We could add just a teensy little bit more if we wanted to. Take our little lube stick with a tiny little bit more on there. And then we would just, you know, poop, poop, poop. Just a little bit more all around. Try and get it pretty evenly spread up in there. So now there's just a little bit thicker of a layer, but it's not much. It's pretty unnoticeable. I think there is a brush command, I believe. And there you go. Macro cam. Thanks, man. It's a microscope. Crash 358, thank you so much for the follow. I really appreciate that. I really do. And anybody else who isn't already a follower, you know, consider it. There's like a button up here for subbing and following and all that good jazz. You know, go ahead and give a follow if you're not already. We do things like have microscopes and zoom lenses now. Then when you're done, you can pop over onto those other socials that TSC just had the bot ping, if you want. If you don't, that's okay too. So yeah, that's about what we're gonna do, right? And we're gonna do that to all of these. And if we just move along, it won't actually take me forever. So here we go. That's not that much. There we go. Decent little amount globule of lube. Yummy, yummy globs of lube. And by yummy, I mean don't eat this at all. It's toxic. It's not good for you. Because it has Teflon in it. But it's so delicious on our stabs. Blah. Should have probably removed the screws before we got to this stage, but you know, living life on the edge, guys. The edge of stabilizer-y goodness. Right? So now with clear stabilizers like this, it's super easy. And I actually highly recommend for newbies, you go ahead and you get Duroc / Everglide stabs or Zeals to do this with. In fact, for everybody, I recommend that. Because, you know, there are known or believed issues with GMK stabs right now, right? The most recent tooling sets, or maybe previously used tooling sets that are wearing out. I don't know, but people are finding that they're unhappy with them. Well, one really easy way to address that is just not to use them. But the other fringe benefit is that because they're clear, you can kind of see what you're getting into as you're lubing them. I don't want lube on the outside, that's gross. Right, so now we have this lube here, this little itty bit there, get rid of that. Right, and now the insides of these housings are done. Boop, boop. Cool. So this is a fairly light lube job on these stabs, for me especially. But again, fairly light springs. You put it on your cinnamon. E6.5 love the matte cross like this. They're all numbered, so you have little numbers. Kind of cool, huh? Solji Osu, yo, that macro cam. Yeah, oh, I read that already. But yeah, thanks, man. I really like this camera. It does it right for me. Waxy, thanks so much for that follow. Appreciate that. I really, really do. So we're gonna lube these now. These. Oh, gotta let you guys see it on camera. These doodads. And the way we're gonna do that is exactly the same, right? Grab onto it like that. And take our little lube brush. But in this case, if you have a microscope, you might be able to tell pretty easily whether you've overlubed or not. But for most people, you're gonna have to just kind of eyeball it the same, right? You're gonna do the same thing. So like I said before, lubing is very much an art, not a science. But this part of your lube job is the part that will make the biggest impact on rattle and on, well, sluggish stabilizer operation if you overdo it, right? So that's how we're gonna do this one. It's about the same. It's about the same amount. Close enough. Whoa, that's disorienting. I tried actually just doing it under the microscope, like looking at my screen. That would take practice. Anyway, so that's gonna be fine. The tolerances are a little looser on these, so a little bit of extra is not probably a bad deal, right? There's other stuff that we're gonna do to these stabs. Like a lot of people will put lube right here now. They'll lube the inside of this channel right now. You could do that. You could also do what I do, which is you lube the wire and you stick it in. You're gonna lube the wire either way, but you could just rely on excess on the wire to fill that void, and I do. But again, I also lube the wire the amount that is appropriate for that type of thing. We're gonna do that again. Get lube on our little brushy brusherson. Oh. So it doesn't have to be perfectly even in here, evenly distributed. It's going to move around a little bit, but you do want it to be pretty close. Close enough. Okay. How you doing, Lina O? How you doing? Hopefully really well. We need these down here and these down here because we haven't clipped these yet. Now, the other advantage to Zeal and or Everglide stabs and the like is that they come without the need for you to clip them. They're already done. So it's one step that you just don't have to do. Right? It's already done for you. There's no guesswork or anything like that. But I'll show you what we're going to do. Okay, that one's probably a little bit heavy, so we'll remove a little bit. Right, we'll just boop boop, take some of that out. So it is harder to remove the lube than it is to add it, but some people will say you can't unlube it, you can't do anything at all to reduce the amount of lube in there, and that's not actually true. There's plenty of methods for doing it that don't even include a brush like this. One, if you find to overlube stabs, is to, after the fact, like after your board is even built, extend the plunger out of here, right? So the plunger's not in here right now, but as it comes forward and out, it'll carry on its sides excess lube. You can use a paper towel to just swipe the side of it and remove some of the lube that's inside this housing. It's not as desirable as doing it this way, but you know, like always getting it right in the first place is better, but it's impossible to be perfectly consistent every time. And if you're new to this job, you might be even less consistent because you're not confident. So you second guess yourself, you're scrutinizing things heavier than other people would, and it leads to just, you know, generally not being as good at it, probably. Likewise, you can always add a little bit of lube after the fact with a brush like this by painting a little more on the sides of that. There are some places where it's very difficult to get more lube into, but there are places where it's less critical, and I'll kind of show you that in a second. Okay, I say that that's pretty good. Now these like lubes look like mountains of lube inside of there. It's important to remember how small these parts are, how tiny this amount of lube actually is. Okay, so that's our last one of these. Put it on your cookies. Blech. Good on toast. Yuck. Cinnamon rolls. Nice. That stuff looks like it will settle in the bottom over time. Tenton. So yeah, this is 205 grade 0. This lube is fairly viscous, but it will move around inside of the housing. There's hydraulic pressure being applied. So the consistency of 205 grade 0 is such that it doesn't, under its own weight in small amounts like that, move. The tension is high enough that it'll just stay in place on the side of the housing. Now, as it moves around, it'll squish back and forth. As the switch bottoms out against the PCB, it will hydraulically, if any has settled down there, will hydraulically force it up onto the sides. And then again, because of how viscous it is, as the slider moves up again, it will carry some of that up. So it doesn't really settle into the bottom. I guess if you heated the board a lot, the viscosity would go down and it would settle. And then the first several presses after it wasn't like super liquidy again would in fact hydraulically lock a little bit and squish it up against the sides. But that's a use case that you're not going to heat your board up to those temperatures. You shouldn't heat your board up to those temperatures. It sounds dangerous for the keycaps, if nothing else, but probably for plenty else also. So I always try and show this. I know plenty of you guys already know exactly what we're doing here. We're gonna clip both of the legs off that have these little hooked feet on them. They're little springs. So that one, trying to spring it. So that one, and then on the other side, there's this one. They kind of do that same thing. We're gonna clip those legs off altogether, right here at the base. The way we're gonna do that, hey, N for utility, Nautillion. Thanks for that follow. I appreciate that. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our little flush cutters and we're gonna do this kind of deal, and we're gonna slice that off, right? And we're gonna do the same right here. We're gonna go right. It's gonna just pull that little leg off, and I'll show you guys kind of what that looks like right now. Right, and now it's gone. The other one's a little more stout, so I'm gonna do it not under the microscope because I don't want things to go flying. As you can see, the extension is a little bit further up there. It's a little bit more solidly applied there. So I'm gonna do that one under here. I hate these parts going flying, so this is kind of a pain in the ass, but normally I use my finger to kind of like retain it. Yeah, you're not gonna be able to zoom in on that, so I'm just gonna stop. Right? And so this way I was able to capture that little piece. But this is what we're looking at now, right? So now there's a little cornered notch off that edge, off this little edge right here. But that's not a big deal because nothing is protruding or sticking out. It can hit the bottom of the plate as this extends out the bottom of the housing, stabilizer housing. So that's what we're going to do to all of these. All 4 of them, tons of them. Why do they have legs initially? So, I mean, it's just part of the original design, right? And it does give them a little springiness at the bottom, which maybe some people find desirable. I don't know. Maybe the original design intent was for that. They wanted that springiness. They didn't want the sound of the stabilizer clacking against the bottom. I don't know, man. That's all I can really come up with. Pleasure, man. Ordered your Rama jewels, Canon 60 and Space 65. Wow, man. You, I don't know if you've been in the hobby for a while or not, but you went deep. You went deep recently. By the way, I never built a Canon 60. Obviously I never built a Jules because it's just being released, but Rama, you're always going to get, for better and worse, right, exactly the things that they make. So if you like their boards already, then it's a solid choice. I do like their boards. You may or may not like their sound profile or their aesthetic or whatever, but assuming you do like those things, then it's going to be great. And their consistency is very high. They always deliver. The Space 65 I love. I love that board. I built one and it sounded amazing. So I really like it. So gotcha. Yeah, how would I compare inks to alpacas? Sorry if this is asked a lot. So my mind got changed on switch films when I put them on alpacas. Alpacas went from not that good of a switch to fairly great with like pretty fantastic. In fact, I think inks are really good. They may be just a tiny little bit looser than alpacas with films, but if it is, it's like almost imperceptibly small. I need to make sure you guys understand that it's not a lot. Inks are fantastic. I would say that Helios, inks, and alpacas in no particular order are my favorite linears right now. Subject to change, obviously, with different tooling or new switches that come out or my experience increasing, but that's it for me. These stabs, so we're using two different kinds of stabs. We're using Zeal stabs, except for on the spacebar and the backspace, we're gonna use GMK, I think, clip-ins. They're either GMK or Cherry clip-ins. These were provided by the customer, but the reason we're using these clip-ins for those two is because of the type of gasket that we're using, where this type of housing will interfere. Electrical engineer, this stuff is pretty simple, just tricks of the trade. Yeah, this nothing here is rocket science. I mean, oh, sorry for the shake, guys. I'll figure something out somehow at some point for that, though it may be a while. You don't like filming GATs. I wouldn't film GATs. Basically anything made by Gateron, don't film it. Novel Keys creams, don't film them. They don't make a significant increase in quality, and they are a giant pain in the ass because of how tight the switch housings are already. That's my take on it. That's my experience with it. So take that for what it is. Like, your mileage will always vary, but in my opinion, those tolerances are so tight, it just isn't warranted. I would not film GAT switches personally. Don't get me wrong, I will for customers if they absolutely insist, but I will always try and guide them away from it. Not just because it's a pain in the ass for me, but because I don't think it helps. And there's that. And that can happen with GATs, because if the tolerances are so tight already, putting something in there that's going to tighten the whole switch up, even if you can make it work, could cause problems. Those films are really there to correct a shortcoming of the switch originally. So if they don't have that shortcoming, then why would you try and fix a problem that doesn't exist? Could only introduce more problems. Usually with Gateron switches, my leaf issues come down to when you took them apart, you didn't make sure that the leaves stayed in place. So when you put the housing back, the top housing back on with the stem in there, you crushed it, which happens, unfortunately, if you're not being careful. Okay, so this is where the amount of lube matters a little less. The point here that you're trying to get is that you're trying not to put so much in there that when the wire goes in, it will push a bunch extra into the housing that could potentially lead to a hydraulic locking of the housing as the plunger actuates, right? So you're trying to get some in here, right? Like this, boop, right? Such that you're painting the inside of that so that any metal that contacts the sides in there doesn't rattle around enough that it'll make sound. You're trying to leave like a gap that you can clearly see through there, right? It's less critical here. The amount is less critical here. That there is some in there to damp vibration and sound from the metal on the plastic is the important part. You aren't actually lubricating so much as damping vibration. So that's what the purpose of that insert is. And then I'm immediately going to take this piece, and the side that has the two holes in the front right here, not the side that has the one big ramped one, right, goes toward the front of the stab itself. So that side with two holes goes toward these clips right here, right? So it's going to go like this, just like the, come on. Wow, my fingers look so dry under this. It's crazy. Like, my fingers don't look that bad up close, but under a microscope, they look like shit. I will say, like, I have gone to work a couple times this week. I've had to. While I haven't interacted with anyone, I've still washed my hands an absolute ridiculous amount while I was there. So my hands are a lot drier. Keep trying to lotion them, but still just not enough. I love that. I swear to you, they don't look that bad normally, like under normal vision. look at literally anything under a microscope and you're going to see more flaws, right? Learned through action. Yes, I agree. So do I think the 7V is worth the buy? Somehow the layout does not flow. Dude, if you don't like the layout, don't buy the board. Like, that's my take on it. There are enough really good boards out there that will come out here and there that you're not going to lack for opportunity in getting really good boards. That's my 2 cents on it. All right, so all these are clipped, but not lubed. These need to be lubed, so we're going to finish them up. We take way longer on stab lubing on this channel than anyone else does, partially because I talk a lot, but also because, well, we do microvision here. Right, so pop, lube in. And again, this part, not super critical. Like, you need to get it right, but if there's a little extra or a little less, it's not going to break anything. That first part was the part that would, right? So we can see that there's a gap there. Actually kind of hard to see the gap right here, but there is one. Guess you're gonna have to take my word for it. Right, there you go, boom. So the other thing is I use alcohol, like really high grade alcohol while we do this a lot, that sometimes you're not even seeing, sometimes like right before stream to clean something up. And that, like, 99.9% alcohol just dries your fingers out instantly. Guess you could just moisturize with 205 grade 0, right? Super gross. Don't do that. I don't know if it needed saying, but don't do that. Right, so same deal. This is, just the next step in lubing stabs. You could, theoretically. No, you should not. It has Teflon in it. You should not expose yourself to Teflon all the time. Shocks, what's up, man? Good morning. Slathered lube on your stabs for one build, then cleaned it off. Felt too mushy. Yeah, I think you want to be careful, right? You don't want to put it all over. No ESD protection on the PCB makes you sad. I agree. That should be mandatory at this point. Microscope reveals truth, yeah. Don't let them shit talk your hands. Whatever, man, I'm not that worried about it. Yeah. Too expensive. You think 7V is too expensive? I think it's expensive, but no KB. Yeah, so I mean, what do you mean precisely? The quality expectations? I think 7V has the potential to be really good. If you like the layout, then it could be a great board. I think the risk is higher than with something like Joules, where you 100% know what the Rama quality is going to be like, right? It's going to be high. Okay. Yet again, works fine. Boom. There we go. These ones I'm not going to focus on as much in terms of showing you guys because, well, you're not going to see as I lube them. So microvision is only going to be so useful here. Yep, you can see a hole. That's the important part. We're not putting so much in that it's going to squish out the sides. again. Kind of see there's a hole there. Great. And it does in fact look good to my eye. Okay. So kind of burn through these really quick now. I don't want to spend too much more time showing it off. Oh, you meant using 205. Yeah, it'd be super expensive, man. Super expensive, no joke. Oh, Teflon. You could use it to cook eggs. Yeah, I mean, if you could just, solidly affix it to the pan, which is kind of the problem with Teflon pans to begin with. I wonder if Teflon pans have been banned anywhere in the world. There's a bunch of Europeans in here right now. I wonder if it's been banned in Europe anywhere, or everywhere maybe. It definitely has not been in the US. I will say though, the ceramic coatings on pans now, it's just so good. Yeah, it does wear off, but it also isn't harmful to you when it does. Just use a metal spatula to scrape it off. Space 65 with the Schrodinger's option is a fun change. What's the Schrodinger's option? I feel like I'm missing out on something. So now we're gonna do this one under microscope because that's what we do. We show it off one time, but we're not gonna do all of them under here because it's kind of a pain. So we're gonna coat the whole edge of the wire, including the elbow. Right? And again, how much you use here exactly is kind of dependent on how you otherwise lube. Right? So we're not pre-lubing the actual guide itself, the channel in the front of the stab guide. So we're adding enough here that it will kind of handle that for us, right? So we did the elbow and a little bit past the elbow. And what this will do is as this metal slides side to side and this surface right here and this surface right here are in direct contact with the plastic of the stabilizer guide housing, it'll prevent the metal from making sound while it rattles. This is more about vibration damping than it is about lubrication, right? I'm not trying to reduce friction so much as sound. I realize that they're tied together, but right. So boom, boom, that's done. And we'll do the other side. Again, like I said, I'm not going to show this off on microscope, on microvision. I'm just going to handle these ones. And then I think we're good. Oh, the mystery color. That's awesome, actually. Schrodinger option. I mean, that's kind of gimmicky, but it is cool. Hopefully they are picking really cool color combinations and not just randomizing. Because if they're like, no, we're going to optimize in some way, like we're going to make sure that it looks aesthetically appealing. Is it just the one color? I haven't looked at the new buy. Is it just like the outside case color, or are they mixing and matching other colors like plate and stuff? You don't know what you're getting, but it won't be any of the same colors as the options list. Okay, that is actually really cool. Full carbon one off. Oh my god, that's crazy. That's wild, actually. That's actually really cool. Like extraordinarily cool. I wonder what the full carbon Space 65 would sound like. And anybody who gets that one, please feel free to have me build that for you. I would love to hear that board and see it and show it off to the world on your behalf with a typing sounds video with good quality calibrated audio and the whole deal. With proper noise reduction, good compressor settings that don't ruin the actual sound characteristic of the board and show it off in its true form, which I think is somewhere most people fail the hardest who do typing sounds. They just leave their compressors running at like voice settings. Pro tip, if you ever stream, don't do that part. For your typing sounds video. I mean, not for the typing sounds in the build video, but like if you do it a separate video, you wanna modify that setting. Perfect. He said on Geekhack that it will be built to the same standards the other colorways were made, but unique. That's actually really cool. So, how much is the new space? Do you have the link to the Space 65 build? I think it's still up, right? I think it is, right? Am I wrong? That would be sad. If it is, post it. Questions. Would you pick GMK, Duroc, and or other stabs? Yeah, right now, my solid recommendations are to stick with Duroc / Everglide or Zeal stabs. Because, frankly, those are the ones that are doing well. Those are the ones that are consistently performing and where we're not worried about some negative tolerance quality or whatever. So, there you go. The Gray Studio link. Cool. I thought it was. I wanted to see what the price was because it was really cheap the first round. And it's cheap now. You know what? I'm going to get in on one of these. And I'm going to do a Schrodinger. I think. Maybe. I don't know. I want to see the other colors. They have terminal, white gold, black gold, Deadpool. Nah. Is Deadpool made to match burgundy? Because if it is, that's pretty sick. RoboCop. I like RoboCop. EVA01. I like that as well. Ocean. So I think I would do Ocean or Deadpool or Schrodinger. Might have to go with Schrodinger. So basically, if you do that and then you do extras of Cyber Voyager, what the fuck? No. Okay. Yeah. So if you get an LED badge, right, in whatever color you want, I don't know, whatever, and you get an extra PCB. So the extra PCB is 42. So you're talking 342. They sell a bag, which I wouldn't want that bag, but I don't know, man. I think you're looking at decent. I think you're looking at a decent price. You're looking at $350 for a board, for a good board. Space 65 was a great board. Whatever, food for thought, guys. Maybe you go jump in on one of those if you want a 65% that we know sounds decent. It is a little bit more resonant than most boards, probably not than most Rama boards. But got some sound to it. But I have a typing test sound of it and up on my YouTube channel, and that is actually a video that had decent sound going to it. So you can kind of hear what it sounds like. To make up your own mind. I did have good background noise cancellation on that was like profiled to the room, and I had the mic set up right. Compressor effects and stuff turned off all the way, I think, on that video. So this is like, it's like very raw. You're gonna hear what it sounded like for the most part, as close as you're gonna be able to really find, I think. And I liked the quality of it. I thought it was a great board. This one has a pad and goes between the PCB and plate. Did the first one have that? It did not. It did not have that. But I mean, I'm guessing you could just choose not to do that. You know, if you wanted to. Although that's a choice you make pretty early on in your build. Like you make it before you start soldering, right? So, or as you start soldering, so you'd have to desolder to change your mind. I think those things work out pretty well though, usually for most boards, and they probably would for that one. I don't know though. If I get one, maybe you guys can convince me in the moment to test it and let you know which I think is better. Although that would require a full rebuild of that board. Ouch. Okay, so stabs are lubed. Man, that took a long time for just 4 stabs, huh? Sorry, guys. All right, so here we go. Here we go. I'm gonna put the lid back on this because we don't need that anymore. I think I'm gonna get one. I just don't know if I'm gonna get Schrodinger's or not. When does that thing go off of sale? Like, when is it on sale until? Or is there a quantity? I don't know. Friday? Yeah, I'm gonna have to check it out. One of the other guys did a comparison and it was day and night. I believe it. It probably is gonna sound great. Okay, so now we're done with those stabs. I'm gonna install the stabs and then I'm gonna get this built. I believe there are no band-aids for this build, which is good because I'm now pretty solidly in the I'm not gonna use band-aids camp for my boards. This isn't my board, so. Yeah, there aren't. And the layout that this customer wants is this layout right here. Opera. So Opera is the browser. I use like 3 different browsers for different purposes on this so that I can route the audio appropriately. So this right here is the layout that this customer wants. So 125, 125, 125, 625, 125, 125, blocker. Perfect. Let me go back to that. That didn't have a stepped caps. Did this guy want stepped? So, customer, you're in the channel. Did you want stepped caps or not? If not, I'll go find it on your thing. Doesn't really matter that much right now, because we're not there yet. Yeah, that keycap calendar thing is freaking awesome. I think if you're getting quality stab, you don't need to use Band-Aid mod. Let's go for stepped. Okay. I thought maybe you were wondering, or you were still on the fence. I think stepped is the right move too. I think this site is freaking awesome, and this month is very disappointing to me because if I get all of the keycap sets that I want, it will be in excess of $1,100 spent for keycaps this month. That's a lot. So part of that is it's only actually 3 keycap sets, but I want the extras and I want a second set of them for display purposes only. So the ones that I really want a second display set for are Black Lotus and Shoko. And I have Shoko R1. And then I also want Noel, but I'll just get one of those. Yeah, IC Tracker is really cool. I think the whole thing is really cool. Okay, so I dumped some switches out here. I've got this. We're gonna get our stabs installed. I have a feeling this is gonna be pretty good. That these flip-ins are gonna work just fine. Oh, helps if I take the screws out. The screw-in stabs, doesn't it? I believe it does help. They need to do a rerun of 8008. I have 8008, and that's something I didn't show you guys on my mail call. And I hate the new GMK box. Is GMK going to be doing this for all keycap sets in the future? Because if they are, I'm actually mad about it. I like the plastic trays. Does anyone know? This is just what they're doing now? Is that what you're saying? No, KB? It's not better for the environment. At all. At all, at all. At least not in my case. It definitely is not, because that cardboard is waste that I will throw away, and the tray is not waste. I use them to store keycaps in. And now I will need to find other things to store them in, which are thicker plastic, which is more wasteful. I just bought some aftermarket GMK like cases. Do you want to throw links? Because I'm definitely down to look at them. Definitely down to see them. I believe it is more wasteful, at least in my case. Not less. Okay. ANSI enter. It's kind of irritating. Kind of irritating. I absolutely do not like it. I have bought extra GMK trays in the past to use them. And it's like the system that I've stuck with. That there are other systems out there for storing them in is true. But now I need to like replace my trays so that I can make my whole system kind of, you know, not a hodgepodge. So in my mind, This thing is super irritating. Ooh, Space 65. So beauty. So much beauty. That is a really beautiful board. Anyway, yeah, I'm highly disappointed in their choice to be more environmentally friendly by giving me a thing that will absolutely get thrown away. Like that cardboard will not last and will get thrown away. Are they going to reduce the price of their keycap sets to offset the fact that they are using less materials? Yeah, I keep them and I use them. You guys have seen on my stream that I absolutely use them. That bottom filing cabinet drawer over there is full of them. Like anybody who's ever watched my stream before absolutely sees that. So disappointed. I wouldn't be disappointed if I thought it was actually less wasteful. It just isn't for me. It was a thing that was just like handled for me. Now every time I buy a set, I've got a keycap case or tray. The thing is I buy extras so that I can store all the extra keycaps that they send that don't come in a tray. So anyway, boom, boom. Okay, that's pretty even and good. So this is 125, 125. I wonder if these are labeled on the bottom. Of course they aren't. This is the thing that I always want keyboard PCB manufacturers to do, is label what's for what, but they don't. It's not a big deal. So this is E6.5 option. This is not. This is one, and this is not. Okay, so there's only one 625 U option, it looks like. So that makes it actually pretty straightforward then. Everything else is 7U, then easy peasy, lemon squeezy. At least in this case. I didn't realize that was the case though. Actually kind of surprised that it is. But whatever. Yeah, whatever. Okay. What am I doing here? I'm trying to put them in backward, apparently. Okay. Boom, boom. So this is easy to tell how much looser GMK stabs are, like by how much more angle these can get, GMK and Cherry for that matter. How much more angle the plungers can get when they're sticking out of the board. Getting the rattle profile to be exactly the same on these is... You know what, I'm actually going to leave it because I can change this a little bit after the fact, and I think it's actually pretty good. Just nitpicky. Okay, so that's actually pretty straightforward if there's only one 6.25U bottom row support, which there is, which is weird, but okay. So easy peasy lemon squeezy. Let's get some switches in to hold this plate. This is actually a giant pain with polycarb or any plastic plate, which is one more reason that I do not like plastic plate materials, aside from their sound and feel personally. But this is not my board, and they do have a unique characteristic that, I mean, that is desirable to some. So I'm very much a brass or steel kind of guy. Aluminum is okay also, I think. So what we're going to do to kind of counteract that this is going to be a giant pain plate wise is we're going to actually preload as many of the switches in here as we reasonably can. And that's it's going to help out by we can put the other ones in without flexing the plate and unsnapping them. The bottom row is going to be pretty impossible. The mods, not that possible either. We can kind of offset a little bit. They're at the edge of the case, so it's easy to pull the plate back up into place usually. Anyway. What do I think about GMK bleached? A little hesitant. I do not like the white on black look, or the black on white look, as much as I like the white on black look. White on black is like my favorite colorway ever. I have GMK minimal and I don't love it, and I think GMK minimal is better in my opinion than bleached in that it has a softer whites. Just my 2 cents though, personally. I don't think GMK bleached is bad. I just don't love it as much, personally. You personally think that it's a must, the bleached? It's so universal for GMK and a steel. That I don't disagree with. It is a universal colorway. It does go well with most things if you like it in general. And the price is usually really good on monotone sets. So I think price is obviously a perk with it being low. So it's a good counter argument. I personally don't like it that much. Got carbon fiber for your Space 65, so you hope you like it. I think you probably will. I think you will. CF sounds good as a plate material, and I think with the damping thing in between the plate and PCB, it's actually going to be pretty cool. Like, I have a board that has a carbon fiber plate and a damping thing between. That's J01, and it sounds freaking awesome. So the problem with doing this many in a row is actually like how difficult it's going to be to seat everything. We're kind of checking these all individually to make sure that they don't have bent legs or that we fix their bent legs, because we're going to put all of this on top of the PCB kind of all at once. How'd the clip-on stabs work out? They seem good. I'm not convinced yet that they won't rattle more than what's in there already, but they seem pretty good, and I can kind of fix that after the fact if they are a little rattlier by adding a little more lube after the fact, which is totally doable, just a little more difficult. But we're not going to hear the full effect until switches and stuff are in, so I'm reserving a little bit of judgment. I'll do another test here in a second though, before I put this plate on. And that's about as good as we're gonna get this. So we'll do that other little test real quick. So what we can do, right, to check this out is we can put a switch in the positions. We can actually test the sound with no plate, which isn't as good as there being a plate there, but it goes more to the stabs than the plate anyway. That's what we're trying to test out. All right, so I'll put those 4 in, and we're gonna use GMK 8008 because I've got it here. And I wanna show off how much I don't like the box. Stupid cardboard box. I love that they wanna be more environmentally friendly. I hate how they went about it because I believe that it is the opposite of environmentally friendly. And by the way, I like the lube job on the inks. I think they feel really great outside of the board. I'm guessing they will continue to feel great inside the board. Right. So there's that. Also, I don't like this cardboard tray because it's not as easy to use. And it's stacked kind of feel. Makes you more likely to like just dump everything all over the place. Just kind of junky. Okay. So the problem with what we're about to do, we are going to add more lube to the spacebar, and it is going to help the rattle. The problem is, or not the problem, but the difficulty is avoiding over lubing this. Because it has the right amount of lube for feel. It feels fantastic. In fact, if anything, enter and stuff are right at the edge of where I would want them to be lubed in terms of how much there is. It's not like a bad thing. Like lube does settle a little bit over time, so it's not bad for it to be kind of at the limit of where you want it to be when you're at this stage. Even the grease, it does move around and kind of go to where resistance is just going to take it naturally. So we did add just a little bit to that location. I'm not even letting you guys hear it because it's not. Luckily, this is a 6.25U. There's less inherent rattle in it than with a 7U. Okay. There's like a tiny little bit more that could be added to this front surface right here. And to this back surface over here. Hopefully I didn't overdo it. Feel it in a sec. Did not overdo it. I think that's as good as it's gonna get. This 2U1 is absolutely perfect. Perfect. The 6.5 is definitely the least good, but it's still, I mean, it's a spacebar, so it's bigger, so it's always going to have a little bit more noise. I don't know. I think it's good. I think it's really good. And I don't think it would be considerably better or anything like that with the Zeal one in. It just would be a little bit tighter feeling. And it might be a tiny little bit less. But I mean, if you want to change your mind, now is definitely the time. But I think we're good. You tried some retooled GMK stabs on a different board. Couldn't get them to work, but they were screw-ins, not clip-ins, and a 7U spacebar. So 7U is always going to be more difficult, right? It's a larger area with the same size plungers, so there's going to be more flex and a greater amount of force as those plastic bits hit each other. So a way that you can kind of counteract that is you can use a heavy switch, right? A heavier switch with a stronger spring, and you can over-lube it, not over-lube, but you can lube a little heavier on it, and then that'll kind of make it better. Because if you use too much lube there for a lightweight spring, then it actually will feel sluggish and bad. So when you use like really lightweight springs or whatever, lubing stabs is just harder. There's less play. Not a fan of the box either. Feels fragile. I think the box is trash. I really wish they would go back to plastic. That's my actual opinion on it. I use the plastic. That cardboard box is 100% trash. Like, this is gonna have to go in a new case, and that cardboard's gonna get thrown away. I don't know what yet, so it's gonna sit in cardboard for a while. I think it's gonna be good. The cardboard's pretty thick. I mean, if it were super, super thick, I guess, but I don't know how you're gonna get away with doing that. Okay, we're gonna lift all these out. We're gonna get to soldering. I'm gonna put this plate down on here and see what we can get. Okay. I think we're pretty good now. Yep, everything looks seated. Perfect. Okay. What are other switches in? The ones we know we're gonna be in place. We're gonna do stepped caps. The numbers aren't spectacular. Corrupt news. I mean, everybody wants to report on doom and gloom. It sells better, unfortunately. But also, there's a fair bit of doom and gloom, I guess, to go around right now. Overall, so a lot to say about it, I guess. Yeah, I mean, if I'm being honest, the numbers are bad. Like, the numbers are really bad. I mean, most of us who are just socially distancing ourselves from everyone else are... I'm trying the best I can. Most of the people I know are trying the best they can to stay away. You still gotta go to the store. I've had to go to work a couple times. But those cases are pretty isolated. I don't know. Hopefully I can avoid it for as long as possible. Or overall. Altogether, that would be great. Here in South Africa, they expect it to be really bad, but it has not hit us that hard. Lockdown is a killer, though. Well, I'm glad that you guys are able to do it, though. Like, it's gonna hurt our economies to do this way, but it could save a lot of lives. I'm glad that it didn't hit you guys that hard, though. You did curbside pickup for liquor yesterday. Didn't have to get out of your car. That's cool. Yeah, we're probably going to get all of these switches installed here before we actually solder them. At least all of the non-bottom row switches. I don't know, man. I'm just trying to be the best I can at avoiding contact with basically everyone. I have a couple friends who live pretty near me that are kind of in my circle of exposure, if you will. But outside of that, not a ton. There are some people that I have to interact with that are not at higher risk for death as a result, but at a much higher exposure level. But even they are trying, we've talked about it, trying to do their best. Mid-trough mountain raft time? I don't know. Mid-trough time, thank you so much for the follow. I appreciate that a lot. I really, really do. Anybody who's not already following, consider it. And then Maltesers one, thank you so much for that follow, man. I appreciate that. And if you're not already following on my other outlets like YouTube, consider it. It helps. And then we can stay in touch, and you can see my VODs and stuff post and any other content that I make. Yeah, so there are some people that I have to interact with that are at a greater exposure level, but even they're trying to minimize to the maximum extent possible and isolate themselves where they're at the best they can. I think everybody's just trying, right? Everybody's got to make sacrifices. What up, Stash? How you doing, man? How you doing? The only suck is that with everything coming to a standstill, everything online is sold out. KBD fans has nothing avail. Try to get some 205 grade 0. The struggle is real. I feel you, man. I do. So I don't know if this corner one is 125. It should be. It's 125. Okay, so that's 125. So the reason, the way I'm telling that this is 125 is I'm looking down this edge. So the edge of this is lining up with the edge of the stepped caps, but not the edge of the 1U switch that goes here, right? So it has to be a 1/4 U inset, which means that the one next to it would be for 1.5 U, which makes sense. And then in more than that, I don't even know what that would be for. Oh, probably for a case that has a different bottom row layout. It's weird. Anyway, we can kind of pretty easily tell what it should be, right? By taking our shift goes over here. We're not gonna set it all the way down because what a pain in the ass. So we'll put the shift over there. And then we'll take our 1.25 U control. We'll set it on top, right? So if we just set it right here, and then we look right here, they should come to a dead lineup. And they do. So it's absolutely right. All right, so I'll leave that right there. And then I'll take another 1.25 U cap. Right. And it looks like it's the most inset one here. And it should be the next most inset one also. Right, so that goes there. Our alt should be kind of the same deal. And it is. Right. Then our 625U here. Yes, that's correct. Leave it kind of up like that. Then I'll go back to the layout the customer wants. Right. Not that one. That one. 125, 125, 125, 65, 125, 125. So that's the most inset one. Hey, middleman 1613, thanks for that follow, man. I appreciate that. So I'm just kind of showing you guys how to, line these up, figure out if you want an exact bottom row thing, if they're not labeled. So if things are silk screened on the PCB itself, then you just insert them where they go based on that. I'm only very slightly pushing these keycaps down. And this one is not the most inset, it's the one next to that one. But it's very close. Okay. Right, so there's our bottom row. We don't need to worry about these, they're all 1U. So now I'm just gonna literally lift these off. Right, set them up here, great. Don't really care what happens now to this, okay. Those switches, or keycaps rather. So now I'm gonna push all these in, make sure they're seated all the way. Like the rest of everything else. Now we have all of our switches in, and we're ready to start soldering. Fire up our iron. White on black ship soon. Oh yeah. So I got in on white on black. You talking about the drop white on black shipment? I can't wait, man. I did get in on another set. White on black is my favorite keycap set of like all time. I own two sets of a couple different things, but I don't own two of those, so needed to get on it. Okay. So I can, while that's, oh, the iron's actually already hot. I don't know. Doesn't really matter that much. So one or two of them might not be seated all the way. We can kind of check by just looking at it at the edge. You guys may or may not be able to tell with the depth of field that I've got on this lens right now, but if you just look down its edge, you can kind of see if anything's sticking up where it's not supposed to. So I don't know if I should show off that thing, Shocks, that you gave me the other day. I mean, like a really, if you're listening, like a really brief teaser glimpse at it. Should I kind of do that? Oh no. Oh, popped out. That was bad. Just like at the bag you delivered? Okay. Well, I do like. Okay, so for anybody that's here now, I don't know what just happened to my upper monitor. There it is. Weird. So for anybody that's here now, there is a cool project that a friend of mine has been working on, that Shocks has been working on. It's a macro pad project. And it's going to be really cool. I think all of you guys are actually going to like it. I think it's going to be a pretty big success. So this is like a prototype kind of deal. So the concept will be, yeah, that what's written on that front label there is not important. This is not like official packaging or anything like that. But the concept will be, I think, correct me if I'm wrong in any way, Shocks, that you get to choose what colors you want, and you get to choose what layout you want, up to a certain size, obviously. Right? But there will be a bottom case. There will be a top case. Right? So there's some little screw-in inserts in there. That's kind of cool. So bottom case and a top case. This one will be green and black, right? And a plate insert. Right? There's obviously a spot for a controller, and the plate insert has little cutouts, wire guide cutouts for a hand wire deal. Right? So the concept will be that it goes in, put your switches in, right? You hand wire it all together, and bingo bango. Sandwiches. No. So no PCB. Oh, I don't think it's that big of a deal, actually. I think it's pretty fine. In my opinion, it's pretty fine. But I think there are other projects that could make it, they could make little other PCBs going on, but that's further out, right? But I think for a macro pad, hand wire, pretty straightforward. Super simple. Sandwich the plate with the top / bottom. Oh, yeah, totally. Derp. Boom. Yep, that makes sense. So your switches go in there and then get all wired together and bam, bam. How do you go about programming? So in this case, there's an Elite C. Right? And so the Elite C goes down there and it runs QMK. So we will build this at some point in the near future. On stream. So I'm pretty excited. So, I mean, the idea though is that the macro pad can be whatever dimensions you want, like number of rows and columns up to a certain size. So this is a thing that will be available at some point in the nearish future. And I think it looks super cool. Not only is Shox my friend, but I think he's also got a really cool idea there that's kind of a winner. Because there are a lot of people that want macro pads of N size, of N dimension, right? And like, unless somebody's making that exact thing, where are you going to get that, right? Well, you're not. Oh man, I've had this iron on for forever now. We haven't even done our job yet. Here we go. Here we go. Starting our actual solder job. Okay. Tin our tip. Always tin your tip, buddy. Yeah, that's 3D printed. But I think the idea will be that you'll just be able to go onto a site and order it. And then it'll get made in the colors and the dimensions that you want, and you'll get the kit or have it assembled, pre-assembled. Do it with OLED switches. Fire. I think there's other things in the works. But for right now, I think that's what's going on. Custom stream deck / macro keycaps too. I mean, big brain right there. Okay, so we're gonna get our. You know what? Before I touch this, we have tested the PCB in terms of its lights coming on. We did not test actually one thing, so I don't actually want to touch it with an iron yet. I came real close, right? Just in case. Just in case. We'll throw a little switch hitter action going up. Sorry guys. Sorry for the delay. Hey, Guns Gear Gaming, thanks for the follow. Also, I like the name and the concept behind all of that. Does your EDC include a keyboard? Know what I mean? Ooh. What did I miss here?
Priority 1 message
Okay.
coming in on secured channel.
Hey, Swills, thank you so much for that resub for 2 months. I appreciate that more than you know, man. I really, really do. Thank you. Sago, thank you for the new follow. Thank you so much. Anybody who's not already a sub or a follower, you know, consider going up here and clicking one of those buttons or whatevs, and you know, heading over to one of my other social media outlets and giving me the same there. I'd appreciate it. Then we can keep in touch. Okay. Good, we're getting them all. I guess we didn't do this and we should. Almost forgot. Man. Okay. Cool. Alrighty. It's looking great so far. One of these is gonna be a function layer key, I know, and I can't remember which one. On this bottom row. Okay. Sweet, sweet. Perfect, perfect. Okay. This menu. Oh, I missed one over here. Oh. Menu. Okay. Well, looks like nothing we have mapped here will be a function row. So that's literally everything. Great, great. Get rid of that. Turn our iron back on. YouTube has a whole lot of odds for some keep building content. It does have a whole lot of odds. We have been doing this at least once a week on average for over the last year. And we're not planning on stopping soon, so there will be more. Natilian, thank you so much for that sub. I really appreciate that, man. New sub, always welcome, man. All right, so now we're here. Let's get this going. Boom. Good job. Come on, come on. Now I think is the time where we zoom in a little bit. So you guys can see my soldering. How about we do that real quick? How about we do that real quick? Sorry about the bumpy ride. Yeah, man. Space 65 I think I'm down for. I don't think I'm gonna jump in on personally on Jules, though I do like it. It is nice. It is nice. Nice. Somebody did post Space 65 earlier. Egg Salted Orb, thanks for that follow. I appreciate that. And what a sweet name, dude. What a sweet name. Yeah, graystudio.club. Cool. Do you not do any pre-soldering prep for the flux? Define what you mean. Pre-soldering prep for the flux. Do I put flux on the PCB in advance? We're using rosin core solder, so we don't really pre-flux boards like this. We do use flux on my channel fairly frequently for other types of jobs. Just not for this specific kind of job. These pads are fairly big. You have to flow enough solder on there that definitely the rosin flux that's inside of here is enough to kind of get you going. But we do some SMD soldering and stuff on our channel under usually under Microvision right here. And in those cases, we almost unilaterally use flux for controllers and stuff like that, where the even though they're through-hole components, the pitch is very high. the density of the pins is very high, we definitely use flux to avoid bridging. Like if we were going to reflow this connector right here, we'd do that under the microscope, and so you guys could see, and we would definitely be using a lot of flux. And we have, I keep multiple kinds of flux on hand for just those eventualities. So for stuff like controllers and things like that, we absolutely try to use pen flux as much as possible, just because it's really straightforward to use. So we'll do something like this Tester 186. We also have some rosin paste flux that we'll use here, and we also have some Amtech sticky flux, which comes out like a gel, which is really beneficial. I'm definitely not worried about dry joints or cold joints, as referred to them here. Not on these switches. The other thing I didn't do for this board, for some silly reason, is do anchors. Probably because we tacked them all in so tight that I wasn't that worried about it, but we'll do anchors now. Corner anchors. We'll do a couple mid anchors. So also, I don't want to like toot my own horn, but I'm fairly proficient with an iron. So I'm soldering at a fairly high temp, and we're spending fairly little time on any given pad. We're soldering at 740 Fahrenheit, which is 393 centigrade. So we're soldering fairly hot, and we're soldering fairly quick, and we're soldering with an iron that can maintain temperature stability very well. So I mean, I'm not that worried about cold joints, especially not on switches, and we're gonna test everything afterward. I don't know why I'm doing this switch position. I'm just gonna continue on now. And if I ever get to a joint that I'm like, oh, that might be cold, then we'll just reflow it. And if there's too much solder on there for some reason, then we'll remove some. Pretty much how I feel about it. Yep, that's the prep you would do. Yeah, for a keyboard like this, where the pads are so big, like here, maybe this is cold. One really easy way to fix it, just reflow it. I don't think it's cold, but it was an example. We could flux this all, but yeah, I don't know. I'm not gonna do that for this kind of a build. Just absolutely not required. Magic Sue, thank you for that follow. Really appreciate that a lot. Really do. So when I join the 7, hey man, if you want to send me the 7V for a build, just hit me up. I'll get you sorted. I would love to build your 7V. So I've had this whole conversation before with Osiris from Mechs on Deck. In fact, we spent like a significant amount of time talking after my first interview about solder technique and how people get really in our hobby, people who are fairly new or novices or whatever, they watch a lot of videos, they start talking about it, and generally a lot of the videos that they'll see that aren't keyboard related will talk about you know, good soldering practice, and I'm happy that they're following good practice, but the amount of current flowing through one of these switches is minuscule. So to be frank, even a cold joint is probably, unless it comes completely off the board, is probably going to flow enough current to actuate the switch position, right? So you can be fairly bad at doing this thing and get switches to be good. That's not an excuse for bad technique. But because the pads are so big anyway, and we do this thing week in, week out, and have our systems dialed in pretty well for this, just needing to take those steps is maybe not all that critical. In fact, it's not even advisable to spend time doing something that is not of a benefit for a specific type of task. But that doesn't mean if you're new to this thing, I don't think you should do those things. I do. I absolutely do. Inks and creams. Oh, yeah, no joke, man. Inks are really good. Creams are good too. I've got a build coming up that will be with creams. Guns Gear Gaming. This is the exclusive 6.5. This is the E6.5, and this is the PCB that it came with. You need a flux command called what the flux TSC. Okay, ping me about that afterward. We'll set that up. Yeah, the restock. Yeah, so I did not get inks, unfortunately. Are there still inks available on Novel Keys? Is that where you were getting them, Cartoon? Or not Cartoon, Swizz? Because I saw creams and then I looked for inks and I didn't see them when I looked, but that was a couple days ago. Robotical, thanks for that follow. I really appreciate that. Love the new follows, guys. Keep them rolling in. Always like reaching out to a bigger audience. Serum23. Thank you so much, man. Appreciate that follow. Really, really do. Got our step caps in there. Boop, boop. Nope, nope. A little more. Oh, Touch. Thanks for following the channel. What a nice... You've touched me. Thank you so much, man. I like your name. Ooh. The Riven Blade. The Riven Blade. Is that like from League? Thanks for that follow. Appreciate that. Nice. It is? That's sweet. Insanite. Thanks for that follow. Appreciate that. I'm waiting so long to grab them and I've always missed the restock. Are they actually still in stock right now? That's what I want to know. Novel Keys. Store switches. I think they're on the second page always. Inks. Black inks. Definitely not there. See, I want black inks. Black inks are the way, man. Oh well. Oh well. Thanks again. Just picked up some GAT inks too. Where did you get the GAT inks? Where are you getting these GAT inks? If not on Novel Keys, because I did not see them on Novel Keys. Do I lube them with 3204? Wait till 205 grade 0, I think's better. Yeah, see, I saw the creams. I just didn't see the inks. Yeah, 205 grade 0 is definitely gonna be my recommendation for inks. 3204 will work, and I like 3204, but I would do 205 grade 0 if you can. If you can. Oh well, I'll jump in on inks, I guess, next time. I got alpaca linears coming in. How many linears do I really need? I also have Telios that are already lubed, waiting for a build of mine. I thought I was actually gonna jump into a bunch of my own personal board builds coming up, because it seemed for a brief period right after everybody started locking down for the virus that people weren't gonna be sending boards, you know, for builds as much. But I got like a decent flow of boards right now for builds. I think there's 5 here right now. I think I have 3 weeks solid of board builds right now, and then another 2 weeks worth of board builds that'll be, if I do 2 a week, which is my normal, that'll be in after that. And I try never to let my queue grow to more than a month, as I basically will then do more builds than my regularly scheduled ones to shorten the queue. I feel like that one might not be seated all the way. Oh no, it is. Okay, we're done. Maybe. Okay, so now let's get ourselves some switch hittery action going. Boom. There we go. Clear that out. Plug ourselves in. Let's go. You need some Moabs or alpacas, whichever you can get your hands on. You have like 70 for your Polaris. Nice. Yeah, okay, so alpacas. Yeah, alpacas are great. And I have films for them. I want to catch up for a second. Building your very first build soon. Soldering, of course, Tofu 60 with lubed, springs, swapped, creams. Not the best board, but good starter, you've heard. Dude, best starter. Best starter. Tofu is a great starter. Don't ever doubt that. Insanity, you have Zelios, Holy Pandas coming. Inks are your first linears. They're great. They're great linears. They really are. Just need some keycaps for a couple group buys. Touch. So the thing about group buys, right, is you'll have to wait for a while, but as long as you know that and you're happy with it, I think you're good. Okay, I think we're golden. GMK lead times, no joke. Yeah, Pleasant Chaos got his Tofu that I built, and it was a great board. Could you fit? No, Space 75 or Space 65's PCB won't fit into a Tofu 60 case for sure, and I don't think it'll fit into the Tofu 65 either. It's really made for a Tata 68. Baskersvilles, you sent me a JSON file I can flash, and I will do that. May or may not do that on stream, but I will definitely do that. I do love I do love the Tofu Pleasant Chaos. It's a great board. I don't think it's the most premium board that exists out there. So, no illusions there, right? But it is a fantastic board. Okay. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna get rid of this because that has like flux on it and lead garbagey, whatever garbage. So we're gonna kind of make sure that there's no massive mess here, and then we're gonna put this case together, right? And it's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. They're amazing for what they are, price especially compared to what most people are like. People are most likely coming from. Yes, you're gonna be even if you ship a board to me and have it sent to me, pretty much all in, you're gonna be under $500, like all in, for a tofu, right? That's a hard thing to achieve for anything other than a tofu. Not that it's impossible, just it's hard. So this is the part that's always okay. We'll get this top aligned like this and pressed in, right? And then we'll stretch this over like a little rubber band. We'll stretch the other end over like a little rubber band, right? And then we'll make sure that they seat in correctly to the edge. We're not like squeezing it way in there. We're just making sure that it seats into the edge. Perfect. So this is us. Now I'm going to zoom out. Sorry for the shake that's about to occur. Try and reduce it as much as possible. Get rid of our switch hitter because we're done with that. Whew. All right. Yeah, $88 case, 40 PCB. If you spend $400 to $500, it's going to be a little more premium. No, I'm saying like keycaps, the whole deal. You just buy all the things to get the board made, and you pay me for the labor, and you pay for all the return shipping and the whatever. You're still looking at solidly under $500 to get a board made. Even if you go with premium stuff, like you're doing Zelios and stuff like that, right? Okay, so we don't want to hurt this case at all because it's polycarbon, it's easy to scratch. So what we're gonna do is, right? I'm gonna take, even as another layer of protection. Customers seemed not incredibly, but seemed a little worried about the outside of their case, which is fine. I don't blame them. I built several polycarbs, but because they seem extraordinarily worried about it, I'm going to take this microfiber cloth, which I keep some of around anyway, right? And we'll do this work over microfiber. How about that? Extra caution for you, customer. Okay, so we're gonna flip it upside down now. All right, we're gonna take these screws out. The bump-ons are already installed, which is great. Makes our life really easy. So now, if I'm not mistaken, they use like one of the really, really small sizes. For their like 1.3 millimeter, I want to say. Sounds familiar. This is 0.9 millimeter. That's way too small. Here's 1.5. I think it's too big. Nope, 1.5. Perfect. So 1.5 millimeter screws. Ooh. Black inks, brass, tofu. Yeah, I liked the way your tofu sounded, honestly. But I mean, they all sound fairly similar. All right, so we'll set those off to the side. Okay, not worried about that. It has bump-ons on the bottom. So now, so you got to be really careful when you screw into, just for the record, when you screw into polycarbonate. So now this polycarbonate board doesn't have metallic inserts like this little case doodad over here has. Let's see if I can show you under microvision. And there are a couple other cases that have had this kind of thing. So I'm gonna go to microvision. So here there's just raw polycarbonate, and I'm not gonna put it under the microscope. So you can just imagine that these threads are engaging directly with polycarb. So you need to be careful with your torque spec. I think it's a good thing to point out, right? So the right way, I think, for companies to handle this is to put one of these metal inserts in. So like helicoils or something like that. You can embed a nut if you're doing 3D printing like this, which may or may not be how this is done. It almost doesn't matter. You can thread helicoils into polycarb. This actually looks like it's a nut retained in there, which is great, super strong. But that is not done on the exclusive boards. And on a previous stream, I actually did criticize that when I saw, I think, a canoe, which had it. I was like, hey, I wish that other boards had this, like E6.5, as an example. Okay. Anyway, so there we go. We got that. And here's all of our case screws that came with this thing. Ghosted365, thank you so much for that follow. Really appreciate that. I'm actually gonna put this up here so the chat isn't ruined. A helicoil would be nicer than, yeah, I mean, I think it's the way. What is the most expensive keyboard that has gone into group buy? So there are some like isolated cases of like an all brass version of something. So let's ignore that, right? Because those are like, oh, you made a very heavy version of a board that wasn't that expensive otherwise. I think Kepler is probably the most expensive, where the whole group buy was just pricey, right? Probably. So even these stabilizers, by the way, push out just a little bit on the gasket. Not a lot, but just for your information, customer, and anyone else who's making one of these, even the clip-ins push out just a tiny little bit, though they are way less tight. This slides in and out without interfering with the case itself, whereas that's not true on all others. Okay, so we've got this here. Great. And we'll take our notch set with a tiny, it's actually not that tiny of a Phillips, and we will get those in. So extra careful to back out all the threads, and we're not going to tighten. We're just going to get it a little snug, then back it off like an eighth of a turn or so, eighth to a quarter, so we can get this thing all aligned properly. Right, so we do it backwards till we feel the threads click and engage with the threads that are already in place. Snug, back off, quarter to, or an eighth to a quarter. We're going to do that for basically all of these. Then we're going to go around and we're going to torque them all down right. I mean, if you don't want it screwed in, then we don't have to screw it in. But, trying to look at engagement here. So this lip, this is going to come flush here, and this lip will push down against the plate, and it'll set against this lip right here. If you do not want it screwed in, we will not screw it in. In every other case, we have screwed it in. But I can do this without. Totally your call, buddy. I mean, it depends on what you want to get out of your gasket, basically. Okay. Totally up to you. It can be. I mean, you can choose to put it in otherwise. So the gasket isn't holding it up and down. It's just holding it side to side at that point a little bit. Like I said, it totally depends on what you want to get out of your gasket. We can absolutely do this. I don't know why I would do it that way. That's silly. Don't do that. Now we'll put the bottom into the top case. And it is snug enough that it pretty much just stays right where it's at. But we're going to do the same thing, but for the case this time. Alright, and then it gets just a little snug, or back it off. Touch art. Put on a GBU though. What did I miss? What is the most expensive? Yeah, okay, so probably the Kepler. Yeah, so my Kepler, just the board, because the extras were sold as a different kit. My Kepler was $902 shipped to my house. It doesn't really matter, but there we go. Clicked back to engage threads properly. Snug, reverse. Just a little bit. Originative is great. You know what? Originative also does something else that's really cool. Which is they sell, I think they sell extra, what's it called? Keycap trays. Old GMK ones, which is always pretty good. Yeah, I want my Kepler, man. I am ready for it. It just isn't ready yet for me or anyone else. But I'm ready for mine, Stash. It'll be here. Did you get in on one, or are you stuck out in the cold without one? Because there may be extras when all's said and done. I wouldn't be surprised if there are quite a few. Hoping to get one in trade. Ooh, what are you gonna try and trade for it? Okay, so now it's all in place, right? But it's not snugged up all the way, and everything seems good, and the case doesn't move around or have anything where it flexes improperly or anything. So now we will snug it up, and again, you're gonna want to be really careful when you do this so that you don't strip out one of the holes. We're gonna snug that one, snug this one, snug that one, snug that one, so on and so forth in our little star pattern deal. And again, because you're going into polycarb, just focus on not over tightening. Okay, perfect. Okay, we'll give it one more little test to make sure everything lights up. Look at that, boys and girls. And then we'll do a switch hitter test again, just to make sure that, you know, stuff actually works. Perfect. There you go. Alrighty, get rid of our switch hitter action. Cool. So it totally works, totally looks good. You got some goodies coming. All right. Keep it secret. Keep it secret. Just saying, if anybody were, you know, trying to trade for a Kepler, someone will have a Kepler. I don't know. I'm actually not trying to trade it away necessarily. I'm always open to offers, you know. But I do think that I'm really gonna love my Kepler. I don't know if I'm into it or not. Depends on what you have to offer, man. I'm definitely not looking, but I mean, there's always the possibility. Probably I'm not, but I probably will not want to trade it, if I'm being honest. I can't imagine that I would. I've actually seen them and I really like them. Now I have all this microfiber goodness all over. This is one of those fuzzy microfibers. Needed to be washed, I guess, before used. 2x for your Kepler. It's definitely not a money thing. Yeah, I would look for extras first. I mean, who knows? Maybe you'll get something that I missed out on. So mine, I ordered a silver on silver Kepler, and I ordered all the Alps extras and stuff too. No, I'm definitely not a flipper, not Tillian, but I appreciate it. Not looking to flip. If I ever got rid of most of my boards, it would be for trade. Or if I was like getting out of a hobby or something weird like that, it would be for just what they cost pretty much, or close to it. Plus all the shipping, stuff like that. That's fair, I think. Okay, so do you guys want 8008? Is 8008 a good keycap set to put on here? Do we like it? What do you think, Baskervilles? I mean, we have other options, but I have a feeling that 8008 is going to look really good. Okay. Well, then I'm going to put it on then. No one said don't. Let me get switch hitter up in the background so that I'm not. Yeah. Oh, well, I think you're in for a treat then, probably. I think. I hope. Here's the question. Here's the real question. Accents and modern, or what do you guys think? Text, modern, accent stuff. Okay, so accents for sure then. I agree with the accents. Okay, so we'll be using that guy. Yeah, definitely those are happening. Definitely those will be happening. So let's do our stabilized caps first, obviously. Yeah, yep. Either way this is being used. Oh wait, that's not there. Yeah, I think not modern, although modern does look really good. Cost monkeys? Oh, monies, yeah. How much does this build cost altogether? Wow, that's a really hard one, man. This build likely costs, I want to say $650 if you didn't buy it new. $650 aftermarket for this. $725 with the switches, and then the keycap set, obviously like $200, right? Call it 200. So $925, let's say. Let's say $925, including keycaps. Which obviously there's a vast difference in keycaps. You can get cheap ones, you can get expensive ones, you can whatever. So another thing you can do to try and kind of avoid any scratches on polycarb, which you should do when you can, is you can, instead of removing this with keycaps, with a keycap puller, you can actually pull the entire top off and pull it off just the plate and PCB assembly, which is what we'll do when this customer's when I disassemble this to send to customer. But I have taken to, I'm gonna keep boards for like a day at least, Usually just about a day. After I build it, and actually use it just a little bit to make sure that everything continues to be good and doesn't require tweaking. I haven't had any gotcha moments. Somebody questioning me on it one time, like, oh, why don't you just hang on to it for like a day and double check and stuff? And I was like, you know what? That's actually the best way. That's probably a good way. Like, I'm not going to use it for a whole day, but I'm going to use it a few times over a day. That's what I think I'm doing with most customer boards right now, just to ensure perfect. Like I said, I never had any problems, but problems related to that, but makes me feel safer. Do 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 do. Okay. So I actually never remember what the appropriate right column thing is. Mostly because I don't I don't use that. Is the stepped caps on the other? It is. Shocks the TP board of MRU. Wait, what? You can't see it, but this desk sits on a horde of TP. Right. Yes, thank you. Thank you. Now all my customers are going to show up to my house and be like, I can't find TP. Can you lend me a roll? Don't do that to me. Don't out me. I'm not a hoarder of TP. Oh my lord. You just send the wrong message too. We'll send you a roll of TP with every build. That's ridiculous. How funny would that be? Start sending out TP in the pandemic. I also don't like that it's harder to get these keycaps out. Like I can't do my famous slide it to one side kind of thing anymore. Yeah, I don't like these cardboard boxes. And I don't think they're more environmentally friendly, because now I have to have other cases. This looks awesome. Where's my 1.75U shift, buddy? So weird pulling things out of this box. There it is. hard to find things. Does anybody remember the order of these? I have to go look it up. Oh, you know what? I know what. Where we can get this. Home, delete, page up, page down. That's right. Okay. So home, that's the correct one. Delete. Page up, page down. So there's gonna be a page up and a page down that are in the appropriate row. To find that BS. There. So this is the appropriate page up. Is there a more extreme page down? Page down. Okay. So now my question becomes, which tab to use, or which pipe to use? Thank you so much, Superbeer 1994, for the follow. I appreciate that. And Wee Loops, I apparently missed you. I missed you. Blah. Thank you so much for that follow. I really appreciate that too. You guys are awesome. 8008 will rerun. No, you joined too late. You think mod colored here? Not Oh man, I hate this. So much more difficult trying to find this. So you think this instead of this? Okay. Well then there we go. Boom. Done. All right. So there we go, boys and girls. Boys and grills. Look at that beaut. Beaut. Oh, this is regular caps. I was like, what do I have here? Not okay. Let me pull this stuff off to the side. Boom. Look at this, boys and girls. The red light actually looks well with it. I could probably tune it to be pink. Looks slightly better. I don't know. You guys liking it? What do you guys think? What do you think of this board? I think this board looks hot. Hot shit. Yeah. Jax, what up, man? I kind of want it. Jax, so good to see you, man. Baskervilles. I hope you like the way it looks, man. I do. All right. Guns Gear Gaming. Here we go. We'll get a little sound testaroonie going. How about that? I think we can pretty easily accommodate. accommodate this. Boom. You guys see? Yes, you can. Okay. Oh, you know what? We need to. All right, try again. Try again. Okay. All right, here we go. Well, before we do all that, let's still don't love the spacebar as much. Doesn't sound bad, just I think it's not the stabs so much as the PCB plate gasket. Yeah, because backspace sounds great. Okay. The inks feel amazing. This is a great board. All right, so let's do a typing test. Aw, caps on. Wah wah, redo. Aw. So bad. So many mistakes. So many mistakes this time. Oh well. Yeah, I don't know. The light linears have been throwing me off. Oh well. Oh well. Yeah, I don't know, man. I really like it though, either way. Some people like flipped. Yeah, I put flipped on here. Spacebar does look awful. Looks wrong way around. It is the wrong way around on purpose. And I'm not going to pull it off now because it's bottom row, so it touches the edge of the case. I want to pull the whole plate and PCB out before I do that on this PC board. God, it does sound good though. OCD needs to be fixed. Well, for what it's worth, when I ship the board to the customer, it won't have keycaps on it, so he can put them on however he wants. It is better ergonomically though. It does line directly up. Like, look at the angle of my thumb. Right? If you're typing, it's like right there, not like there, right? Because otherwise it'd be tilted the wrong way. That's my so yeah, it's PC plate material. Surprisingly quiet, in fact. I mean, I'm sure you guys can hear it pretty well because you're that far from the the action. solder this switch stepped. Yep, stepped. I don't know. They feel great. They sound great. I'm a big fan, definitely, of the way the board feels, sounds, and looks, honestly. But I built a few of these and they all pretty much look awesome. There's some fingerprints there. Try and wipe that off for customer. Okay, yeah, I was gonna say I have Ruki over there with Zycos in it, and it sounds way louder than this, right? And it has a brass plate. Yeah, it's just aesthetic. Step caps is just for aesthetics. It looks better. I guess your finger kind of detents and notices, like your pinky when you're there, that it's not there, but get the correct angle and fix OCD. Oof. Right, though. I think it needs just a little bit of tune on both of the clip-in stabs, and I will try. I think it's always going to sound a little less desirable than these two, but this one's really close. Backspace, spacebar. Spacebar is just louder because it's a spacebar, so. And it'll always have a little bit more rattle. I don't know. I generally would never do clip-in stabs. It's just what the customer wanted, and I don't think it was a mistake because the gasket does fit in perfectly. I would love to see the next iteration of this board made, however, have little bump outs in the top case, or specifically that thing, so that the gasket can move around that and still function the way it was initially designed. But I wouldn't change it, honestly, at this point. And it's great. It's great. But we are going to switch back over to this view. Get some sound going again. Oh. Our music sounds like rain sounds. What's that all? Oh, yeah, okay. Hold on 1 second. Yeah, I mean, technically this is red lights, but it's so close to pink. Like, it could be modified. You can see that it's red on the bottom. But the glow up through the diffused case does actually make it look pink. So it looks kind of great. I need to flash it with the customer's different thing on there, and I want to actually pull this spacebar and backspace off and just adjust the lubing just a little bit, add just a tiny little bit, and see if I can make it sound just a little bit better. It isn't that noticeable. It's a little noticeable to me, but only when I'm like really up on there, not depressing it all the way, but just touching it side to side. I don't think they're ever going to sound as good as Zeals in that capacity, but under operation they sound great. All right, guys. I hope you liked the board build today. I hope that you guys had a great time. Try sounds with non-flip spacebar. Okay, maybe I will. Like I said, I'm in the mode now where I'm keeping the customer board for at least a day after the build, so that I can fine-tune anything that I think is up with it. And I will do my typing sounds test that way. I actually have a backlog of typing sounds videos that I haven't tweaked and published. So maybe I'll get some of those out really soon. This is pretty great though. I'm definitely a fan. Definitely a fan. I think it looks fantastic. Sounds great. Feels. Man, I do love the feel of Lubed. It does feel great. All right, so I think we're about to get off. I want to know if anyone else is actually streaming right now. Who do we got? Who do we got? We got anybody? Whoa, no one's streaming. That's unfortunate. That is unfortunate. Okay, well, before we get off then, I'll tell you what we got coming up next week, or next build. I'll definitely raid Critter Vision if there's nobody else. I do see Critter Vision as well. There's even like a squirrel on there. So anyway, so next Wednesday, we're actually going to complete the Ergo Dash that we built on one of our last streams. So basically, there were some SMD LEDs that just came in that I need to put on there, and a MOSFET that weren't included with what the customer sent. So that's what we'll be doing for sure. Old Kirk. Who's Old Kirk? Okay. I will hey man, if somebody's building a keyboard, that's what I wanna support. So in any event, right? We're gonna finish up that board. That'll actually be pretty fast. There's gonna be a lot of SMD soldering on that. That'll be Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. Actually, we're gonna do Tuesday this week because Wednesday I'm probably gonna be busy, but Tuesday night we'll do 6:30 p.m. our normal time, Pacific time. So that's GMT -8 or 7 maybe right now. So we'll finish that up. There will be some SMD stuff mostly on that. In fact, entirely on that. And then after that, we have a boardwalk PCB that we're going to be building into a 5-degree case. Then we have a corn board that we're going to repair that needs new controllers, and the LEDs will need to be desoldered and resoldered, etc. Then we have a Polaris 60% that'll be coming up after that. We have a Monster Gear XO V2. We have a bunch of other stuff. Yeah, it looks cool. I'm totally gonna rate him. I think that's the way. So yeah, so that's what we're gonna be up to. I have after that, I have a bunch of boards that'll be coming in that aren't in yet. But like a polycarb canoe, which I like. Actually, I like more than this board. I like the aesthetics of this board more, but I like the PCB, and I like that there's helicoils used in the canoe. So we'll do that. We have a tofu acrylic with all the parts on their way to us now. We'll have an HJCP coming up after that at some point. We'll have a KBD 8X Mark II, which somebody in this channel's board. Calling you out, man. Can I ask customer to please just give you this board? I mean, if you want to work out a deal with him, he's been in the channel. He called himself out earlier. It's Baskervilles. You worry about talking to him for it. Anyway, and then we've got a bunch of my own projects that I want to hit up. So we may actually do some off our regularly scheduled board build streams anyway. Like I want to build that big switch setup for me. I have a bunch of boards that I need to build, but also I've been contemplating. So we made that little VFD clock the other day. I've been contemplating buying all the parts to do an IN18, which is a fairly big Nixie tube clock build. I don't know, man. I keep going back and forth on it because it's probably gonna work out to about $600 all said and done. So yeah. No, the next one is gonna be Tuesday. We're gonna skip Wednesday this coming week, I believe. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm almost certain that's the case at this point. Ooh. It does sound really good. I'm actually surprised that this plate sounds as good as it does. I normally don't like PC plates, but I like this one. This sounds good. So I built them with brass before, and I actually think that this polycarb sounds really good. But I do like brass also. It is a little harsher in this board than in some others. Anyway, okay, we're gonna raid Old Kirk. Thank you guys so much, seriously, for coming in, for participating, for hanging out. I'm really starting to love doing my Sunday streams because I get all of you guys, and you're freaking awesome. You guys really are. Thank you for participating. If you have not already followed or subbed, consider doing that up in this corner. And thanks again to everybody who's already followed and subbed. I really do appreciate you guys. When you're done doing that, please feel free to hop on over where your chat bar is to my socials that just popped up. Thank you, TSC, by the way. And follow me on Instagram, follow me on YouTube, or sub, I guess, on YouTube, whatever. So we can keep in touch. I really like it. Mod likes the Sunday streams too. Such a lovely crowd. It really is a lovely crowd. I really like the crowd on Sunday too, so I'm definitely planning on making this a regular thing. In fact, I may even change my Wednesday, but I'm gonna keep this. This is great. So anyway, thank you guys again so very much. We will we'll be raiding right now, and you guys have a great rest of your weekend. Absolutely. It's not /road, it's /raid. Okay. Oh. I put the O and the I backward. So I was looking at it and typing the wrong one, even though when I was doing it, not. That's funny. That's funny. All right, guys. You take it easy, and I will catch you guys on Tuesday. Goodbye.
As far as I know. Man, I've heard this so many times. Oh, wow. I appreciate that. Thank you so much.